Rolling.
Go on. Open it.
Go on. Start by saying all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Harakah, double honors to the apostles and elders, very most on the rule well, and shalom to all the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. Back again, in the spirit, going through the breakdowns, going through Revelation, man. And, Apostle Ramla touched it again. And that's why spirit of the time, man, going through the breakdowns, going into things that are going to happen in the midst of now, man. And that's really like, when you go into the book of Revelation, you got prophecies, a lot of prophecies that are basically about things that are going down in this time, that the understanding's only being revealed right now in the latter end, man. Right now in the end times. Read this. Daniel 12 and 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Yeah. So now is that time of the end when went into in Revelation 5, how the seals, the book was sealed, and there was no one worthy to open the book. But then what, the Lamb, Yahushua, was worthy to open it. And that's why it's like, Yahushua is that intermediary, that intercessor, to basically bring us back to get and understand the word, man. Because Yahushua is the word as well. So, that's why it's like, hey, the things that were mysteries, things that even when they were broken down to the prophets that received them, were still mysteries. Now we can break it down. And when, in times what was, things in prophecy that were called horses or arrows, we can now break it down through the spirit of what is talking about nuclear missiles, man. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, man, that go through atmospheric re-entry and impact on land. And unleash a nuclear warhead. You go back at that you ain't gonna get that word in the scriptures. Partially because why? Through the spirit. So going to, you got anything?
No.
Revelation 12 and 1 says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And that woman's talking about Israel, and was it the 12 stars for the 12 tribes? What was I gonna get?
I'm getting Jeremiah.
Okay, okay, then I'll get
It's the book of Jeremiah 6 and 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. And that's how we understand that the scripture is speaking about the nation of Israel. But also it's it has multiple layers to it, because it also refers to Mary as well in certain instances. But in this case, it's talking about, the great wonder in heaven being a woman clothed with the sun and the moon at her feet. That's talking about the nation of Israel. And the 12 stars, you want to go to Genesis? I can get something.
I'll go one to bring after.
Go ahead. Well, no, go ahead.
Well, okay.
Fine.
Yeah, go on. Daniel 8 and 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. It's talking about in what the time of the Greeks, when you had them basically come into the land, and then it goes into it in Maccabees how the daily sacrifice was done away with for a period of time. And then you had the rededication of the temple after, which is where Hanukkah comes from, man. That rededication.
I'll read my one.
Yeah. 'Cause I think that's more or less it.
Genesis 8, 37 and 9. And he dreamed yet another dream and told it his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. Alright? And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. So yeah, it shows the point that what the stars being spoke of, the 11 stars, is talking about who? The children of Israel, alright? The 12 tribes, basically, alright? You got anything else?
No, it's no, it's cool. It's more or less covered. 'Cause that's yeah. This is what I'm being so back in Revelation 12 verse 2, and being with child cried travailing in birth and pained and she being with child cried travailing in birth and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Yeah, and that's talking about Esau's power structure, which goes into I believe the 10 original members of the European Economic community, and the what was it? 7 heads is the
Original Roman Empire.
Oh.
The places that
they'd
the Gauls,
taken over. Because it was like Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, the British, the Spanish.
Well, no, the Gauls at that time, and the different names that I had back then.
Yeah. But these, because I ain't gone over the ancient. Let's see if it's on the thingy, the ancient names. No, I'd have to go in because
You can just carry on. You can look it up. You can look it up.
Yeah. What you got saying?
No, read on. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm following your lead.
It says what? Verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them down to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And I believe the third part is talking about was it Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and cast them down to the earth, and then the dragon stood with the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour the child. I'm talking about Yahushua, I believe.
Yeah, it's talking about Yahushua.
And then just like with I think originally it was Herod. No, not Herod Agrippa. I think it's Herod the Great. Let me double check that one, because I think it's Herod the Third. Herod the Great. Was it the Tetrarch? Let's see. Herod the Great was around. I think it was Herod the Great. Yeah, Herod the Great. Herod the Great. And yeah, when he well, I can read it actually. Do, 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 do. So, for the wise man. Well, okay, maybe okay, I'll read it. I'll start from the top and then probably skip down a bit. Matthew 2:1. It says, "Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Yahushua should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it was written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel," which I believe is a quote. So, and then, okay. And then, okay, skip to verse 13. It says, "And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which is spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men." Yeah, so he basically participated in a massacre to try and ensure that Yahushua was put to death. But then it was like, what? Through the vision and the dream, they were warned. And that's, basically seeking to destroy Yahushua, man. As I mentioned, man, seeking to devour the child. Okay, as soon as it was born. Verse 5. Well, you got something?
No.
Revelation 12:5. "And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And as the child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne." Let's read. No, actually, okay. Let's.
I've got a quick precept on that.
Mark. No, okay.
Mark 16:19. "Then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of the Most High."
Okay. Yeah. That's where Yahushua has been waiting basically to receive his kingdom.
Do you want to hear in Psalms of prophecy?
Well, what Psalms 2?
No.
No. Well, what
The prophecy
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
David.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna get after actually. Yeah. So let me read this then.
Go ahead.
So Psalms 2 and 7. "I will declare the decree. The Lord Jehovah said unto me, Thou art my son, and this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel." Yeah, so that's the reward that was set. It was just like, ask of me and you'll receive it. And these are the things that Yahushua is going to inherit. And then you go into Revelation 2 as well. expands on how we'll also be joint heirs. You want to read yours?
I'll read this actually. Hebrews 1 and 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee, and again I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. Wait, hold on. I think I've jumped the gun. Oh no.
Is it further down?
No, I actually read the right one. I've
We might as well read it again then.
yeah. So I'll read it again. So okay, I'll read further down. So it's Hebrews 1 and 5. And unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee, and again I will be to him a father, and he shall be me a son. And again, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he saith, And let all the angels of the Most High worship him. And of the angels he saith, Who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. This being the point. But unto the Son he saith, Thy throne, O power, is forever and ever. The scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. That's it.
Yeah. Deceptive, right? Because that's hey, that's how
After
it's
the
gonna
order
be.
of Melchizedek.
Yeah. Because it's
The king of the righteous king.
the same rulership that's been set from before the
Mhm.
world was made. It was like ordained.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's like Paul was going into the order of Melchizedek, because when's Melchizedek mentioned before Israel's even a nation, man?
Yep.
That's why it's like these. That's how spiritual things. These things were like being manifested, like before it was even the term Israelite was about, man. It's kind of wild, but hey,
Mm-hmm.
that's how the Lord can get down. Okay, well, Revelation 2:25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works to the end, will I give power over the nations. So just as with Yahushua received his reward power over the nations, bashing their heads in with the rod of iron. Same thing that we're gonna receive if as long as we endure unto the end and hold fast unto this word. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as a vessel of a potter shall be broken to shivers, even as I've received of my Father. Yeah. Same thing Yahushua received. We're gonna share in that. So caught up. Okay, I'll read Revelation 12 and 5. You got something?
No.
12 and 5 again, it says, And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto the Most High, and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Which I think they mentioned that same amount of days, like the 3.5 years or 3.5 weeks, where it's basically the 350 years between 1620 and 1970, where you had Israel basically being in the Americas, and it says what as a place prepared where Jake was fed. It's like they were fed, they were basically maintained, and that's then like we went into in Revelation 11, it was maintained in that dry, dehydrated state, man, and that's what caused everyone to rejoice. But why it's for all this to go down the time to end, because as far as it's like it was only for a set period, just like Esau's got his time to be able to do all the madness that he's doing. Once it's up, it's up. Just like Jake had to basically receive that punishment, that judgment. And hey, it's accomplished. We'll no more go into captivity. Once we're out of here, that's something that's no longer going to be a thing. So this is what, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels. This wasn't like Dragon Ball Z. Wasn't Michael, going Super Saiyan God and then just, uppercutting and dropping Kamehameha waves.
That's what you thought it would be.
That's straight. In the world, you said you said war in heaven. You're thinking like, what is it, Immortals, man?
Immortals,
that final scene where it's just like, all of them up in the heavens, man.
Yeah.
Going wild. But what is the war in heaven is going to be when Esau, Edom, the so-called white man and all these military forces are basically going to seek to do battle. That's it's not the Immortals. It's Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
That same theme that you've seen repeated multiple times throughout Hollywood of what, the alien invasion. Then you have like either all America come together or the whole world come together to fight against that one big enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what Esau's gonna attempt to do. That's what he's thinking he's gonna. But so he's trying to what those Hollywood films are is him trying to manifest his victory. But what was I gonna get? Okay. Second. One sec. Second Ezra 13 and 6. But I beheld and lo, actually, let's start from 5. And after this I beheld and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Yeah, so that's all the militaries, all the nations of the world come together to try and combat against Yahushua, man. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. Yeah, that great mountain. That term that, if that great mountain was seen in the modern day by a layman, it'd be, they'd call it a UFO. But then what we're able to break it down as what the chariots of Israel, man, the so-called UAPs, UFOs, those ships, those vehicles that basically Esau, he's got all the footage. His camera is just like watching, like this is mad. Like how is it able to move? It's moving its speeds. It's rotating because why?
That's their vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles that are just on a on a different plane, man. They're moving different. Esau's trying to, come against that, but that's the thing. And it says, what I would have seen the regional place whereat the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Yeah, these guys are going to be shook. That's why you watch, like, I remember Independence Day, that drunk motherfucker that was flying the Air Force plane, where he had his family, he was I think he had PTSD or something, I can't remember, I ain't watched that film in a little while. He had PTSD and it was all jacked up, but then it was like, for his family, it was like, man flew into the ship, and then he meant to just blow up the ship with like just him, despite the fact he's meant to be getting disintegrated. But that, that's the the dream is that they're gonna be. That's the thing is they are gonna be courageous. They are gonna go to war. But alas, what's gonna happen? And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath. It's them laser beams, man, them zip zaps. and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Yeah, that's this guy's gonna get vaporized, man. They're gonna get smashed. And that's the thing is, Esau understands he's dealing with, forces, capabilities beyond what he can do, but his pride's deceived him. You got anything?
Yeah, couple. This is the book of Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the people, for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. That being the point, Michael the archangel, is going to stand up at that time. This is the book of Daniel speaking of the same event that we're reading in Revelations, the 12th chapter. And just to show you the level of power Michael has, I want to bring up this example. One of my favorite, I guess Jude is just one of my favorite chapters altogether. There's so many different points in there, But let me just quickly read this point, just to show you the magnitude of his strength. Alright? Jude 1:9. Yet Michael, the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, does not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee. And that's how you beat the Satan.
Mm-hmm.
So when Michael's coming now with the angels, with his angels, to fight against the dragon and his angels, the dragon is the third dimensional, the Satan in the third dimension, basically. We're talking about Satan in the fourth dimension, trying to, manifesting themselves on the third dimension, trying to take Moses' body. And Michael just simply said, the Lord rebuked thee. And he basically, beat Satan, man, through his words. So now he's coming with force to put everything to an end. And the brother read about how Yahweh Shai is coming. He just opened his mouth and then everyone was just mixed all together. So it shows you the power that they're coming with, man.
It's vaporized, man.
Mm-hmm. That's why he said he was scared, man. You imagine a sight like that, great power and that kind of thing. I've had dreams of, light work kind of stuff compared to the Lord vaporizing an army in the heavens with laser beams. Some dark side type of shit, man.
Con.
But yeah. You gonna read on?
Didn't I? No, I can't remember. Oh no.
Yeah, verse 8.
Yeah. Okay. Revelation 12:9. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole earth.
That's the same old serpent that was basically sent. Let me quickly read this. It's the book of Revelations 20 and 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit being Europe, alright, and a great chain in his hand, alright, great chain being a great chain. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Alright? So that's what happened. That old serpent was bound for 1,000 years. And that was during the time of the Dark Ages, otherwise known as the Middle Ages. Alright? And now she's going to say it, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years, alright, the period of roughly around 325 to about 50 around 1392 or so.
Yeah,
Yeah, around that period basically. That's the 1,000 years, the Dark Ages to the time of the Renaissance. Alright, and after he must be loosed a little season. And we're in the midst of that little season, which is abruptly coming to an end with the Lord making his return. Yeah.
Which deceived the whole world, verse 9.
Job 9:24.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Yeah, that whole force is going to be done away with, man. It's not going to accomplish whatever desires Esau Edom's after ain't going to work out. And it says, and I heard a loud voice saying in verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And that's something that's Esau's done for the longest, man. Basically just praying. Oh, you got it?
I was gonna get something else, but now that I said it to you, I'm gonna have to get. I was gonna get
because there's something else.
Psalm 64. That's what I think I was gonna get. Yeah. Let me quickly read this. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection. This is making me really sick, mad awful, man. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Alright, them accuser of our brethren, them accusations, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in the evil mouth. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search our iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, so that they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, and all men shall fear, and shall declare the work of the Most High, for they who shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory.
Okay.
I'll get Isaiah 47. So it's the book of Isaiah 47 and 12. Stand now in thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee.
Okay. That's all, and that's the thing is, you're, utilizing the left hand side, and then you're gonna be like, yo, look at what these guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you're basically promoting all forms of madness and wickedness, especially onto Jake as well. So it's the most nonsensical approach, but that's Esau, man. This guy is thinking and that's the thing, because he's had his run, he thinks the Most High is with him.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like that's why it'll be like, hey, look at these guys, look what they're doing, man. They're going off. Fuck them. But the word is a word, man. It's been set. It's like Yahushua has received his glory. It's like it's done. It's a wrap, man. There's no way you can subvert it. It says what verse 11, Revelation 12:11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. Yeah, love not their lives unto death. That's something that's common amongst the men of the Lord, man. Because why? It says when you come to serve the Lord is what prepare your mind for temptation, man. And that's really what the life of a man that's serving the Lord is basically tribulation, man. Trials and tribulations. As such, it's like that's why it's men are out here. It's like out here, but what men are not enjoying that pride of life spirit, man, because that's something that generally what people are in the mindset of and the spirit of, man. They're thinking like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go and you know, I'm gonna go on holiday here. They're looking to get married and this. Like, okay, we're gonna have an October wedding. Okay, they're looking. You know, we're gonna have the kids. We're gonna live in this area. We're gonna send them to this school. These guys are thinking about. You know, they're thinking they got all the time in the world. They're basically just like, yo, my life is gonna progress. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z with it. Not realizing that's something that's on loan. You got that?
No.
And that's it. Overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. And that's it. Because that's really the only way. Like the brother read earlier, said what Michael just said. What the Lord rebuked thee. It's done. And that's really like it's once you have the inside track, once Yahushua is dealing with you, spirits are reading things to you, then it's like dealing with things is simple. Like when you go to Esau for certain things, you're gonna get the more like the runaround, man. That's really what you're gonna get is they're gonna be extracting as much money and resources from you, you know, to basically get what you want from them. But that's the thing, it's like with the truth of the word, it's real simple, easily digestible, man. It goes down easy.
Oh, quick precept. 1 John 1 and 7. It reads, it says, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And this being a point, and the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, his son, cleanseth us from all sin.
Yeah. It's really how it is. It's like with, and that's as well, it's like with Yahushua's covering, that's how we're not basically falling into the same basically being judged by our failures, man. We get that covering of grace, because otherwise it's if you're going by just okay, I'm gonna keep the laws, you already failed, man. Because there's guys that wouldn't have been circumcised on the 8th day, wouldn't have been keeping all kinds of Sabbaths, all kinds of high holy days.
If that was the case, then the Lord never needed to come, man.
Yeah.
Because only he came to what? Save us from sin. That's the reason why he came. And sin came in the world from Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all born into sin. So if your forefather Adam couldn't conquer sin, how are you being his son, one of his sons, going to be able?
Mm-hmm.
Unless Adam comes back again. You know, the first Adam was made a living soul, but the second Adam made a quickening spirit, being Yahushua. So Yahushua was the one that had to come to basically set things right. And then now we enter into Yahushua's grace and mercy, into his works, whereby if we walk in his light, as it said, we'll be made clean. Simple as that.
Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that's something read on the regular. Because why? It's visible, man. All Esau's trying to do. It's funny as well, because it's like when Trump set up the Space Force, like, what was it, 2017, 18, I can't remember, like a little while after he was in, everyone was like clowning and laughing at it. But now it's a serious thing. They're setting up. China's looking to do the same thing. That weaponizing of space is building up. And then why? Because these guys are looking to secure themselves. They're trying to make sure everything's in place, man. That's why it's like what you got all these different countries all of a sudden just going up to the International Space Station. They're working on like commercial space flight. Why? It's these men want Elysium in check, man. So you had Lizzie go to the hospital the other day, man. She's these guys are looking to get this in before they croak, man.
Yeah.
Thingy's already gone. Philip's already gone, man.
Yeah.
Man came back as Delta Variant.
Back, man.
Shit. That guy is
Definitely back.
raving lunatic. So, a short time. Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman who brought forth the man-child. And to the woman will give it. It's funny because it's like it goes through a lot of different time periods. I believe it's back to the time of the Romans. It's called say he brought forth the man-child, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the is this one talking about where she might fly into the wilderness? Is this one talking about?
I believe it's talking about on the west coast of Africa.
Yeah, because I think it was the interiors of Africa and Europe
For that time, yeah.
For that time, because I was like, I don't think that's the same one. Because it says because it's basically about what Yahushua prophesied when they had the heat thingy coming as a flood. So Matthew 24:15 says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So yeah, pray your flight be not in the winter. And then warn to everyone, man. It was basically saying like flee into the mountains. Because why? Escape. Because it's gonna, like, the way Esau came in, it was it Titus and Vespasian? Or,
the Flavian dynasty. It started with it really ended with Domitian, but it was it started with Titus. It started with Domitian, ended with Titus. That's why the Ark of Titus. No. Started with Titus, ended with Domitian.
Okay.
Because Domitian's a younger brother. That's why I have the Ark of Titus in commemoration, I believe, of Titus.
Yeah. Okay. Was there something else I was gonna read? Let me go back. What was it? Yeah, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
Vespasian and Titus, so that's the luckier. So the Flavian dynasty only moved to put our homeland to an end, man. Bring about 70 AD, the time that was spoken of.
To the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And that actually forgotten because
Wait, sorry, read that again.
The earth helped the woman.
No, it was the earth helped the woman was talking about being in diaspora, diaspora, basically. Us being able to flee away from the face of him. So the earth working as a covering, basically. So you're fleeing into the west coast of Africa, into Asia, everywhere where you found the disperse of us. And the flood is basically the Roman army. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those breakdowns. It's been refined.
Yeah.
You know,
because I watched it. But it's
that's how recent my notes are.
No. No.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's why it's like I remember I was watching. I was like, yeah. But it's there was a few other things I was going into.
mm-hmm.
But it's in my mind in a tip-top shape.
Neither am I at this time, to be honest.
Yeah. It says, and verse 16, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood with the dragon cast out of his mouth, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of